All right, let's dive in. XRP, it's, well, everyone's buzzing about it. And, you sent in a ton of research, like a whole mountain of predictions and analyses and even legal stuff. So we're going to break it all down just for you.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting mix, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got everything from, those super technical charts to analysts like totally dissecting the SEC lawsuit and, what might happen.
Okay, so just to set the stage, today is February 9th, 2025, and right now XRP is sitting at, like, what, $2.40?
Right around there, yep.
Not bad, but some folks are predicting way more than just not bad.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like $99, even tens of thousands per XRP. Like, is that even possible?
Well, I mean, those numbers sound pretty wild, right? But there are a few key factors that could actually drive, that kind of crazy growth.
Okay, so let's start with the elephant in the room, that SEC lawsuit. It feels like it's been going on forever.
It has been a long time coming.
What are the experts saying about, like, what happens if Ripple wins?
Okay, so it could be a total game changer. If Ripple wins, it wipes away all that uncertainty, right? And it could unleash this wave of institutional investment, the kind that's been, like, waiting on the sidelines this whole time.
So all the big players, the banks, the hedge funds.
Exactly. Yeah, they've been kind of hesitant to touch XRP until now.
Makes sense. So are we talking like a Bitcoin moment here?
That's the theory, yeah.
Like, remember when Bitcoin first crossed $1,000?
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was like way overvalued, and then boom.
And then skyrocketed to $20,000.
Yeah.
So basically, a legal win could do the same for XRP. It could like flip the market sentiment from speculative to, legitimate investment. One source even predicts that this like Bitcoin moment could happen. Get this, as early as Q2 or Q3 of this year.
Whoa, wait, this year?
Yeah, like just a few months away. And they're saying prices could hit $10, maybe even more.
Okay, that's pretty wild. But like, besides the lawsuit, what else are they basing that on?
Well, they're looking at adoption. More and more financial institutions using XRP, especially with the demand for cross-border transactions, it's just exploding.
Right, because everyone wants those fast, cheap transfers.
Exactly, and we're talking trillions of dollars flowing through these markets.
Billions, it's mind-boggling.
And XRP, it's practically built for this. Fractions of a penny per transaction.
Right, like super fast, super cheap.
Exactly.
So Ripple's been busy, huh?
Oh, yeah. They've been securing partnerships left and right with major players all over the globe.
I mean, who are we talking? Like, names?
Santander, SBI Holdings, those are just a couple.
Wow, big names.
And they're even exploring using XRP with CBDCs, central bank digital currency.
That's the future of money.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be another huge driver.
Okay, so we've got global adoption, but, a lot of the sources you sent, they keep mentioning Japan.
Japan.
Why is Japan so important for XRP?
Well, Japan has always been kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to tech. And their financial sector, it's no different,
Yeah.
They were early adopters of crypto, and big Japanese banks like Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, they're already using XRP.
Wow, okay.
But it's not just that, their regulatory environment is really favorable towards crypto.
So it's like a perfect testing ground.
Exactly. Yeah, it's ideal for trying out new applications like XRP.
Okay, so we've got this potential legal victory, more and more institutions using XRP, and Japan kind of leading the way.
Right.
It sounds like things are lined up for some serious price action, but like, what are these sources actually predicting, numbers-wise?
Okay, so short term, we're talking like 3 to 6 months out.
Okay.
Predictions are, kind of modest, between $3 and $3.50.
So a nice bump.
Yeah, probably driven by, anticipation around the SEC case and any good news that comes out of it.
All right, so not to the moon just yet. What about like a year or two out?
All right, midterm, things get a bit spicier.
Okay.
Some sources are saying $5 to $7 per XRP. This is where adoption really starts to kick in. Especially with Japan's banking system.
Yeah, okay. All right, but now let's talk about those long-term predictions.
The big ones.
The ones that make your jaw drop. Like, how are they getting to $15, $20, even those crazy numbers, tens of thousands?
All right, so this is where we entered, like the what-if zone. What if XRP really does become like the global standard for payments? We're talking trillions of dollars flowing through the XRP ledger every single day.
Wow.
And with XRP's fixed supply, 100 billion tokens, that kind of demand, well, it could send the price sky high.
100 billion, that seems like a lot.
It is, but we also have to consider circulating supply.
Right.
Not all those tokens are actually being traded,
Right.
As institutions start hoarding XRP and using it, the amount available on exchanges, well, it shrinks. And that drives the price up even more.
So it's like scarcity, the less there is, the more valuable it becomes.
Right.
Speaking of big players, one of the sources mentioned a massive transfer of XRP, like 400 million in a single day.
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
That's whale territory, right?
It is, definitely.
So, what does that even mean?
Well, we don't know for sure who did it or why. Could be an institution stocking up, an exchange, managing their liquidity, or even just, a whale making a strategic move. The interesting thing is XRP's price stayed pretty stable.
Even with that much being moved around?
Yeah, which could actually be a good sign.
How so?
It might mean there's enough demand out there to absorb these big transfers without causing, huge price swings.
So like the market's strong enough to handle it.
Potentially. But of course, we got to be cautious.
Right.
Big transfers like that can sometimes, precede periods of volatility.
Something to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we're keeping an eye on the whales, but let's not forget about the charts, all those technical indicators.
Oh, yeah, those are important too.
There was a lot of talk about resistance levels. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So there are a few key levels that traders are watching very closely.
Okay.
$2.50 is the first one.
Okay.
If XRP can break through that, and I mean convincingly with strong volume, it could trigger a rally towards $3.
So that's like the key level to watch.
It could signal the start of a bigger upward trend.
And if it stalls out at $2.50?
Well, then we might see a pullback,
Right.
Crypto's volatile. If the buyers can't break through, we could see a correction back down to $2.30, maybe even $2.20.
So $2.50 is the magic number short term.
For now, yeah.
But what about those other indicators?
You mean like the moving averages, RSI, MECD, all that stuff?
Yeah, what do those even tell us?
Well, they're all tools that analysts use to try and figure out where the market's going.
Right.
Like moving averages, those can help smooth out price fluctuations and show you the trend.
Okay.
Then you've got RSI that measures momentum, tells you if an asset is overbought or oversold. And then there's MACD. Another momentum indicator, helps traders spot potential buy-or-sell signals.
So it's like a whole toolbox.
Exactly.
So what are they saying about XRP right now? Are we good to go?
Well, it's a bit mixed, honestly. The RSI is in overbought territory right now.
Oh.
Which means the recent rally might be getting a bit stretched.
Okay, so not necessarily a crash coming.
Right, not necessarily, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
On the other hand, the MACD is still showing bullish momentum.
So good and bad signs.
Yeah, kind of like a tug of war, but overall, I'd say it's still leaning bullish.
Okay, so cautious optimism, but watching for those overbought conditions.
Exactly.
All right, now I want to talk about something really interesting that came up in your research.
Okay, what's that?
This idea that XRP could become so valuable to institutions that it disappears from retail exchanges.
Yeah, that's a fascinating one.
What?
It's definitely getting into speculation territory, but it's a cool thought experiment.
Okay, lay it on me.
Imagine, XRP is mainly used by institutions for global settlements, right?
Okay.
And the average person, they can't just buy it on an exchange anymore.
Whoa, so it's like this exclusive club.
Kinda, yeah. Like only the whales can play.
Wow.
Some analysts think Ripple might even do a buyback program.
A buyback?
Yeah, they offer to buy XRP from, regular people at a set price.
But wouldn't they just offer a low price and screw everyone over?
Well, that's a good question. It would depend on a lot of things, like regulations, Ripple's long-term vision, and, how the market's doing at the time.
Right.
Some analysts think the buyback price could be way higher than XRP's current value.
Really?
Yeah, especially if institutions are desperate to get their hands on it.
So it's all very what if, but it really shows you how big XRP could get.
Exactly. If it becomes the backbone of global payments, it could change everything.
Yeah.
We're talking about a whole new way of moving money around the world, lower fees, faster transactions, more people included in the system.
It's hard to even wrap your head around.
It is. It's pretty mind-blowing.
All right. Well, before we get too lost in the future, let's take a break.
Sounds good.
And when we come back, we'll talk about the competition XRP is facing, all those other players trying to dominate the payment space.
All right. And we'll look at the risks and challenges that could, slow XRP down.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll be right back.
See you soon.
Welcome back. Before we jump into the whole competition thing, I think we should circle back to the technical analysis stuff.
Oh, yeah, good point. Because even if XRP does become like the global standard someday, we still got to figure out what to do right now.
Exactly. So remember those resistance levels we talked about?
Yeah, the $2.50, $2.70, and $3.
Right. Those are like psychological barriers. Traders watch them super closely.
Okay.
So if XRP can break through $2.50, and I mean like really break through it with strong volume,
Yeah.
that could be the thing that kicks off a big move upwards.
And what if it just like hits that wall and stops?
Well, then we might see a pullback. Ugh, a pullback.
Yeah, crypto's volatile. If buyers can't break through, we could easily see a correction back down to like $2.30, maybe even $2.20.
Okay, so those are the price points to watch, but what about all those other fancy indicators?
Oh, you mean like the moving averages, RSI, MACD, all that stuff?
Yeah, like what do those even tell us?
So those are all tools that like technical analysts use to try and figure out the momentum, where the market's going.
Okay.
Like moving averages, they can help smooth out all those price fluctuations and show you the overall trend.
Right, make it a little less like jumpy.
Exactly. Then you've got RSI, that measures the strength of price movements, tells you if something's overbought or oversold.
Okay.
And then MACD, that's another momentum indicator, helps traders find potential buy or sell signals.
So it's like a whole toolbox of like signals and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot to look at.
So what are all those tools telling us about XRP right now?
Well, it's a little mixed, to be honest.
Uh-oh, mixed signals.
Yeah, kind of. The RSI is like a little overbought right now.
Overbought, meaning?
It basically means the recent rally might be getting a bit stretched. Like it's gone up a lot, maybe too fast.
Okay, so that's not like a guaranteed crash coming.
No, not necessarily, but definitely something to watch.
Okay, so we're watching that.
Yep. But the good news is the MACD is still showing bullish momentum.
So like good signs and bad signs.
Exactly. It's kind of like a tug of war right now, but overall I'd say it's still leaning towards the bullish side.
Okay, so cautious optimism, but keeping an eye on those overbought conditions.
Exactly.
All right, so let's shift gears a bit, talk about the competition.
Okay, the competition.
You mentioned earlier that XRP isn't the only player in this whole payments game.
Right. There are definitely other projects out there, all trying to dominate cross-border payments, each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, so who are the big rivals?
Well, Stellar Lumens, you might have heard of it, XLM.
Yeah, I've heard of Stellar.
So it's also focused on those fast, low-cost transactions, and they've got some big partnerships too.
So similar to XRP in some ways.
Yeah, but their approach is a bit different. They're more focused on financial inclusion, especially in developing countries.
Ah, so bringing more people into the system.
Exactly. So while both are in the payment space, they're kind of coming at it from different angles.
Okay, that makes sense. What about stablecoins? Those have been getting a lot of attention lately.
Yeah, stablecoins, those are definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Are they a threat to XRP?
It's hard to say. They're pegged to the US dollar, so they offer stability.
Right, less volatility.
Exactly, which is appealing to a lot of people, but they don't really compete with XRP on the technology side.
So it's more like they're solving a different problem.
Yeah, I think so. Stablecoins are more about like reducing friction in the existing financial system, while XRP is trying to like disrupt the whole thing.
Oh, okay, so different goals.
Right. And then there's the wild card in all this.
CBDCs.
CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, right?
Yep. It feels like every time I think I understand crypto, something new pops up.
I know, right? It's constantly changing.
So how do CBDCs fit into all of this?
Well, it's still early days. Some countries are already rolling out their own digital currencies.
Wow.
But it's unclear how they'll interact with existing cryptocurrencies, like XRP.
Yeah, that's a big unknown.
Some experts think they could be a threat, like maybe they'll replace crypto altogether. But others think they could actually work with XRP, create a system that combines the benefits of both.
So it's like we just don't know yet.
Exactly. A lot depends on how governments and central banks decide to play this.
Right, and how they regulate everything.
Yep. So that's just one of the many uncertainties around XRP. Even if it beats the competition, there are still other risks.
Okay, let's talk about those risks. We've talked about the good stuff, but we got to be realistic about the downsides too.
Yeah. So we already mentioned the SEC lawsuit, right?
Yeah, it's a big one.
If Ripple loses, that could really hurt XRP's reputation.
Right.
Make it much harder for it to get adopted.
Okay, but even if they win?
Even then, there's the question of adoption speed. Convincing all these big financial institutions to switch to a new technology, it takes time, effort, and trust.
It's not like they're just going to flip a switch and suddenly everything's running on XRP.
Exactly. There's a lot of inertia in the system.
Right, and then there's the whole market sentiment thing.
Yeah, that's another big one.
We're in a bull market now, which is good for crypto.
Right, but if things turn bearish, XRP's price could tank, no matter how good the tech is.
So it's tied to the overall health of the crypto market.
To some extent, yeah.
What else should people be thinking about?
Well, there's always the risk of, something unexpected happening.
Like what?
Regulatory crackdowns, security breaches, maybe even some new technology comes along and makes XRP obsolete.
So a lot of things could go wrong, even if everything else goes right.
That's the truth. It's the nature of investing in anything new. There's risk, but also potential for big rewards.
So how do people decide?
Well, it comes down to each individual's risk tolerance. Do they think XRP's potential outweighs the risks?
It's a tough call.
It is, and that's why it's so important to do your own research.
Right, don't just listen to us.
Exactly. Go beyond the headlines and the price predictions. Really try to understand the technology, the team, the use cases.
We've given you some starting points, but there's so much more to learn.
Tons of resources out there, technical analysis, regulatory updates, even just talking to other people in the XRP community.
And don't be afraid to be skeptical, right?
Oh, absolutely. Question everything, challenge those predictions, and form your own conclusions.
This is one of those areas where you really got to think critically.
Couldn't agree more. Don't just follow the hype. Do your own due diligence.
Make informed decisions based on your own situation and your own goals.
Things like that.
Okay. I think that's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground, from legal battles to competition to potential risks.
It's a complex picture, but I think we've given everyone a good overview of what they need to know.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Well, the key takeaway is that XRP is at a crossroads.
A crossroad.
It has huge potential, but also big challenges to overcome.
So making a decision about whether to invest in XRP, it requires, carefully weighing those rewards and risks.
Absolutely. Blind faith is never a good strategy.
Right.
But informed skepticism, that can be a really valuable tool.
So do your research, stay up to date, and think critically.
And don't be afraid to challenge assumptions, ask tough questions.
Form your own conclusions. This is your journey.
Exactly.
Welcome back. All right. So we're in the final stretch of our XRP deep dive. And, I bet everyone's still wondering, okay, but what does this all mean for me?
Yeah, we've talked about the potential, the competition, the risks. So now it's time to put it all together, help you connect the dots and, figure out what to do with XRP.
So let's say you're listening to this thinking, should I buy XRP? Where do you even start?
Well, first things first, no one, and I mean no one, can predict the future. So if someone tells you they know for sure where XRP is going, they're either, not being straight with you or they're just, a little out there.
Yeah, I think sometimes all the hype around crypto makes it feel like everyone's got a secret formula, but
the reality is it's way more complicated than that.
Right, it's not that simple.
We're talking about a brand new technology, constantly changing regulations, and a market that's driven by speculation, big institutions, and global trends.
So if we can't predict the future, what can we do?
Well, we can start by recognizing that investing in XRP, or any crypto for that matter, comes with risks. We've talked about the potential upside, but those downsides, they're real too.
Like the SEC lawsuit, even if Ripple wins, there's no guarantee everyone's going to jump on board right away.
Exactly. Even with a win, it could take years for XRP to reach that level of adoption some folks are predicting.
And then there's the whole competition thing, Stellar, stablecoins, CBDCs. It's a crowded space.
It is. And there's no way to know for sure who's going to come out on top.
And on top of all that, the crypto market itself is still pretty young, prone to big mood swings and price swings.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's the takeaway? Should people just give up and say it's too risky?
No, not necessarily. Uncertainty doesn't mean you can't invest, but it does mean you got to be smart about it, know the risks, and only invest what you're comfortable losing.
Right. That old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's especially true here.
Couldn't agree more. And do your own research. Don't just rely on the headlines. Dig deeper. Try to understand the technology, the team, the real world uses.
We've given you a starting point, but there's so much more to explore out there.
Tons of resources, technical analysis, regulatory stuff. Even just talking to other people in the XRP community can be helpful.
And don't be afraid to be skeptical, right?
No, absolutely. Question everything, challenge those predictions, form your own opinions.
This is one of those areas where critical thinking is essential.
Couldn't agree more. Don't blindly follow the crowd. Do your own due diligence.
Make decisions based on, your own situation and your own goals.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great note to wrap up our XRP deep dive on.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot.
We explored a lot: legal battles, competition, potential risks. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but hopefully everyone listening has a better understanding now. It's a complex topic, and it's always evolving.
So what's the final message for our listeners? What should they do now?
I think the big takeaway is XRP is at a crossroads.
A crossroads.
It could revolutionize finance, but it's got a long way to go.
So deciding to invest in XRP, it takes careful consideration. Weigh those rewards and risks.
Exactly. And remember, blind faith, that's not a good strategy.
Definitely not.
But informed skepticism, that can be a powerful tool.
So do your research, stay informed, keep asking questions.
And who knows, maybe the next time we do an XRP deep dive, it'll be trading at $10, $100, or even, well, let's not get carried away.
But that's the exciting part, right? The possibilities are endless.
They really are.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep diving.